Okay, so we're going to talk about getting our weaving off of the loom. Now, it doesn't matter how far you've woven down your loom. If you made it to the black line, great. If you didn't, that's fine too. Everybody's going to have something, no matter how far you wove. But if you did make it to this black line, when you cut your strings, which we're about to do, you need to make sure that you cut all the way at the bottom, because we're going to have to tie these, and it's not going to work if you don't have enough string left to tie. So I've got plenty of room on this one, so I'm going to hold my warp strings in my hand, and with my other hand, I'm going to cut them so that they are now separated from the loom. Now what I'm going to have to do to make sure that my weaving stays in place is I'm going to have to tie these. So getting my weaving a little closer so you can see my tying skills a little bit better. What we're going to do is we're going to take 4 strings of our warp strings. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all there. And I'm going to tie these the same way I was tying my string on my needle. I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to put the tails through the center of that loop, and I'm going to push the loop up towards the bottom of my weaving so that the knot is right underneath my weaving. I do not want my knot down in the middle of my strings and not touching my weaving, because that's what's holding my weaving in place. So again, 4 strings, loop, send the tail through the loop, and push the knot so that it is up underneath the weaving. So I'm going to push up before I tighten. Once it's up, I'll pull the strings down and tighten the knots. Now that I've got my knots all tied, now would be a good time to cut the remaining strings off the side. I'm just going to trim them. Now I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to slide my weaving down to expose some of my warp strings at the top. This is going to make it easier for me to take off. So I'm going to just push it all down. My knots I tied at the bottom will keep it in place. And then 1 loop at a time, I'm going to start to pull them off of the loom. I will complete this all the way down the loom. And now my weaving is free from the loom, but I need to do something to keep it nice and stable. I'm going to put in a pipe cleaner up at the top. This just helps it not to be so floppy and gives us a way to hang it up. So I'm going to take that pipe cleaner and I'm going to start pushing it through each of the loops all the way down. Once I've pushed my pipe cleaner all the way through, I'm going to trim it so that it is the same size as my weaving, and I can get rid of that. Then I'm going to spread out my weaving so that it fills in all the gaps. So I'm just going to kind of push it down so it goes up towards the pipe cleaner. Once I've completed that, I'm going to flip it back over and get a string, and I'm going to tie a string to both edges of my pipe cleaner. This way I'll be able to hang it. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my name off my loom and stick it on the back of my weaving. Now I'm ready to turn my weaving in. Before I turn my loom in, I need to get all of these strings off the bottom. I do not want those there. You need to pull off the leftover warp strings and please throw them away.